Austin Anderson was the keynote speaker at the ILPC Spring Convention at the University of Texas in April 2014. As a photographer for NBC, CNN, and Fox News, he's been all over the world. But it was his job with the Weather Channel that almost took his life when his vehicle was picked up by the wildest tornado in history and tossed around. He was seriously injured.
When you're watching TV and you're at home and you're in the path of a tornado, you're looking at that and saying, oh, well, they're saying it's coming our way. But until you can get a verification that there's a tornado on the ground, and this is what the objective is by the Weather Channel, is to show people at home that, yes, there is a tornado there. It's not just one that the National Weather Service has seen on radar. Then people will pay attention more and get out of the way. What happened to the scientists at the Discovery Channel and to us getting hurt, recreational storm chasing has increased tenfold in the last couple of years because it's become so popular on the Discovery Channel or these channels to see people who don't know anything about meteorology going out and trying to get video of a tornado. It's so dangerous because, for example, the meteorologist I was working with, Mike Bettis, he's been covering these thunderstorms and tornado chasing for 10 years, and he still made a mistake. And in our case, it was almost killed us. And so anybody see straight up and down, that's our car. On the right side of your screen. Some of you may have already spotted it, but straight up and down on this shot is the vehicle we were in rolling away from the camera, which was still recording. And so what happened was, as we tumbled, when it's black in that video, the camera falls out of the window because all the glass blows out, and it falls in the grass laying on its side of the highway, but it's still recording and watching our car roll away from us. And we're inside there going like this, like a wash machine. And I can remember my head hitting the ground as every time we rolled on this wheat field in the dirt, I would hit the ground with this side of my head and then get knocked over. And I remember holding onto the steering wheel, pushing myself back against the seat, thinking, whoa, I better be steady on this. And what's amazing is that we all walked out of it alive, but I was hurt the worst. And I think that's because when we went airborne, we came down and landed on the roof of the car on my side. And that smushed my head and broke some vertebrae.
We've all seen reporters standing outside in hurricanes and blizzards, but lately weather reporting seems to have taken a more dangerous turn. The second round of deadly tornadoes struck Oklahoma on Friday. Two journalists from the Weather Channel got in their car and drove toward the storm. The result, a harrowing close call that all but destroyed the car and left the channel's Mike Bettis and a colleague badly shaken on the Weather Channel.
So as a journalist, when you get too close to the story, in this case too close to the tornado, which is the story, you can get hurt or get killed.
And our adrenaline was just so pumping so fast, and we had just rolled our vehicle and we were all looking at each other, are you okay, you okay? And I was feeling like, well, maybe a broken ribs or something, not knowing the extent of my injuries, like I could be paralyzed any second by any movement, that we were all thinking, boy, we're so thankful and blessed we made it out of that. And as we climbed out of that crushed car, we were looking around the field, seeing a debris of all our gear. And so the first thought I had was, go collect it up. And so I'm walking through the field and I look down and I see my still camera that had flown out of the car a few hundred yards away. And it's in the mud, and I picked it up and I said, wow, it's still working. That's great. Then I kept walking. I saw somebody yelled at me, hey Austin, your TV camera's hanging on a barbed wire fence over there. So I looked up and went over there and pulled it off the fence, but I was still hurting so bad. And my cell phone was in the wheat field, and I found it and it was still on. And so I called back to Austin to call my wife and said we had just been in a tornado, and everybody seems to be okay, but I'm kind of hurt. maybe I have broken ribs. And she said right away, said, oh, well, you need to go to the hospital. You could have a punctured lung or something. And I said, no, we're fine. He said, no, seriously, go get checked out. And it's a good thing I did, because once they did some scans, realized there were a couple of vertebrae that had been crushed in my back, and they were impinging on my spinal cord. And that if I had moved wrong or in some way, I wouldn't be standing here today. I'd be paralyzed.
Yeah.